Hello, everybody. I'm Tamera Foley, CEO and founder of Education for All Now. I am an educational consultant and I have written 3 children's books. So I am so excited to be on this platform today and just to be with some amazing people. I've been here listening and just learning a great deal. So today I want to introduce my books to you, and then I want to talk about my character, which you can see in the background, Cassie. So the first book I wrote, Cassie's Big Change, How COVID-19 Changed the Way We Learn. And I wrote this book because I was seeing many of our children dealing with some mental health and social emotional issues during COVID as they were learning from home, as they had such a small amount of time to transition, and really no one understood what was going on with or even what COVID-19 was. And children were having such great emotions during this time. We saw an uprise in depression. We saw an uprise also in anxiety in children. So I thought it was important to write a story about how Cassie was feeling and write it from the perspective of the child. So that's the first book. Then we have Cassie's Big Change, Coloring and Activity book. And this book complements the book, but it also has activities so children can write, express their feelings, and really just help them to process some of the things that they're dealing with during COVID-19. And the book that I'm going to talk about most today is this book, Cassie's Big Change, Going from the Living Room to the Classroom. So I am so happy to talk about Cassie and how Cassie came to be. So what do we know about Cassie? So you may not be aware, but Cassie is a girl in elementary school, and she is being raised by her parents, her mother and her father. Cassie has gone through a lot of changes during the pandemic. And Cassie's family has had her struggles during this pandemic with her father losing his job due to COVID-19. So Cassie loves her family. She loves being around her family, her cousins, but she hasn't been able to do that because of COVID-19. And much of this is because Cassie's mother wants to make sure that she is safe, wants to make sure, because many of her cousins aren't following the rules, aren't following the protocol. So we are wanted to make sure that Cassie's mom was able to express what was going on. So Cassie has just a range of emotions, from feeling happy to sad to lonely, to just not knowing what to expect during COVID. So she's also learning how to manage her feelings and emotions through writing a journal. So Cassie leans on her mother and her father for information during this time. And she also has built a wonderful relationship with her teachers, and she loves her teachers and feels supported and cared by them. So in this book, Cassie's Big Change, Going from the Living Room to the Classroom, she's feeling excited, she's feeling happy, and she's going to be making that transition back to school from virtual learning. Wow. You know, Cassie went back to school just for a little while inside the classroom, but then school shut down again because of COVID, the rise of COVID-19. So she is just excited to be with her friends and excited for a new adventure. So Cassie loves just to know about what's going on with her friends. She's very curious, and boy, does she ask a lot of questions. She also seeks the praise of her parents. She wants to please them. She wants them to be proud of her. And she also seeks that same praise from her teachers. And you know what? She wants to excel academically. She wants to do a great job in school. But she also wants her teachers to think about her. She also wants her teachers to know that she's interested in school. So that's Cassie. And Cassie has friends. And so please, 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 if you want to know more about Cassie and her adventures, cassiesbigchange.com. And so Cassie also wants people to know and wants children to know that with support of the people around us, that you can process your feelings and you can be successful academically. So you might ask the question, so why did I write this book? Why did I want to keep talking about this pandemic? Well, there's been a lot of fear going on about children going back to school. So I know there's been a lot of anxiety from parents, from children, from grandparents, and from the community, because we keep seeing and hearing about all these changes going on. So we know that children are having various emotions about what to expect when they go back to school, what's going to happen. Now, some children in some parts of the country still haven't gone back to school, while others are going back right now. So I wrote the book to encourage children and parents that change can be a positive thing. Also, to allow children to explore their feelings and to allow children just to know that they can feel, that they can have someone there to support them. So Cassie's Big Change has a lot of lessons in it. And so there are lessons of change, there are lessons of hope, there are lessons of courage, and there are lessons of that social emotional learning. How do I cope with this? Who do I go to? And then how do I process that? And in Cassie's Big Change, going from the living room to the classroom, you will see Cassie's entire classroom engaging and being able to write their own story and being able to put together a character. And if you see behind me, Cassie is holding her character that she actually built as a part of her story in her book. So this Cassie's Big Change is a series. So I'm continually writing books, and we're publishing this book this year, but we won't see another Cassie book actually until 2022. But we do have something that is coming out. There will be a journal that we'll be publishing very later this year. And that journal will help children to identify their feelings, to help them write, to help them be positive with affirmations. And that journal is just a piece. And children don't have to do it now. If they want to do it now, they can, but they can do it 10 years from now. They can do it 5 years from now, because it's still going to be relevant. So it's not just focused on COVID. It's just focused on change, on courage, and on hope, because certainly we all need hope as we are dealing with this pandemic. So I think it is very, very important to help children to process these feelings and to be able to do it through literature, to do it through children's books, and especially from children's books where the main character is telling the story. So when I started to write this children's book, I just only wanted to write one book. But you know what happened? I participated in a writing boot camp, and it was a 30-day boot camp. And I had dedicated time to write every day. And I was encouraged by all the people in that boot camp that were writing, and just that positive energy that I wanted to be around. And it was wonderful. So that's how, when I wrote Cassie's Big Change, going from the living room to the classroom, I also wrote another book, of which is not published yet and won't be published until 2022. But being able to realize at that time that I loved writing children's book. And so that's how Cassie's Big Change has become a series. And so Cassie has items. So if you'd like to know more about and see about Cassie's bundle, you can purchase that on cassiesbigchange.com.